I was not expecting to visit Freeport this soon. I was expecting to visit the Mother of Pearl yarn shop in September at the same time that I visited the yarn cellar, but unfortunately, life comes at us in unfortunate ways. My trip to Freeport was unfortunately to visit the PetMedic Urgent Care vet for my cat. She had a sore on her tongue, which I thought would require antibiotics, and because I expected a quick trip, I messaged their Facebook ahead of time, Mother of Pearl's Facebook. I decided that I would skip filming this year since I still had last year's video, so instead I asked if I could bring my cat in after her vet appointment. They were very accommodating and they were happy to have my cat come in as long as she stayed in her case. Well, they didn't specify that she had to be in her case. I did, and said that she wouldn't be out of her case. And they also said that if it were easier for me, I could go ahead and order online and pick up in the store. So I took the trip to Freeport and I ended up at the PetMedic Urgent Care. And unfortunately, due to the nature of Mara's sore, they did have to do a biopsy. So I ended up visiting Mother of Pearl alone. And it was really nice. They recognized me as soon as I came in and gave them my name. And they immediately said, "Oh, the lady with the cat." And I said, "Well, yes, Cat is not here. Cat is at vet. So just the lady today." And they were completely understanding and they asked if I need any help. And they did understand that I had a cat having a biopsy done at the same time. So I was able to roam around the store, pick out yarn and accessories. And they were very kind and very understanding. I did spend probably 45 minutes to an hour there because I needed to use up 3 hours of time before I could go back to the vet and pick up my cat. So I did find some yarn. I got some Barocco for some projects that I have coming up, including arm warmers and a hat, actually a hooded cowl. And I also, when I realized that I had a coupon from their old reward system for $25 off, I bought a ball of Noro Ito, which I've already started making into a project. Hopefully, it'll be finished by this weekend. While I was there, when I did my first purchase, before I remembered that I had my rewards card, I did ask them at the counter, or I did say that I had heard they had Chiago minis, and they were very quick to pull out the Chiago mini interchangeable sets so that I could add them to my collection and my cart. And to my surprise, what I didn't expect to see were a lot of enamel pins because I haven't mentioned it here before, but I do collect pins and I am almost at 1,000 pins on my pin board. So we're a little bit closer to that goal of 1,000 and then 2,000 and 3,000. So I did pick up some pins while I was there. They were incredibly kind. The store is always a pleasure to walk through. They have a wide variety of things to search through. I almost walked away with a bag made from the sails on boats that are used in Maine because it was really tempting, but a little bit too pricey for my purposes on that day. After my 45 minutes to an hour in Mother of Pearl, I did decide to start exploring Freeport a little bit more so that I could try to keep my mind off things. We ended up at Wilbur's and I bought some candy and drinks for friends. And then after Wilbur's, I ended up going and hanging out at a McDonald's for 45 minutes because the McDonald's in Freeport is pretty low key. A lot of people would prefer to go to the restaurants in the middle of Freeport, so I was able to hold on to a table for 45 minutes. After that, I moved over to the Dunkin's that I didn't realize was attached to the PetMedic Urgent Vet, and I was able to wait the rest of my time there before I picked up my cat. So I did end up picking up my cat 4 hours after I had dropped her off, and she was a little bit woozy from the sedatives. and she was awake and moving around when I was able to take her home. So she's home, she's being taken care of. Her tongue is a little bit sore, so we've been giving her pain medication and soft food. And in a couple weeks, we'll find out what her diagnosis is. But one thing that I really appreciated on this day was the kindness of the people at Mother of Pearl, because there were 3 people that I ran into that worked there. And every time I said my name, their immediate response was, "Oh my goodness, it's the lady with the cat." So they definitely communicate with each other from their Facebook messages, and that made me feel valued as a customer. I'm not sure how excited they were to see the cat, and I do feel a little bit bad that I wasn't able to bring her in all of her healthy glory to meet them. But maybe it was for the best, because she could have been very stressed, and it could have been an even more stressful situation introducing her to a new place. But I also wanted to participate in the yarn cruise, and I didn't want to leave her in a car in case she had actually been with me at the time. Mother of Pearl is actually the yarn store that I've always considered my second main local yarn shop. My main local yarn shop has always been Yard Goods Store, which is a little bit of a trek, admittedly. Um, and while Yard Goods has a lot more yarn in stock, honestly, they might actually have about the same amount of yarn. But Yard Goods has a little bit more acrylic and a little bit more affordable brands, where when I go to Mother of Pearl, I expect to get some really fancy yarn and some really soft yarn, and honestly some really expensive yarn sometimes. The Barocco that I bought for the hooded cowl that I'm going to be doing, as well as the arm warmers, was about $17.50 per skein or per hank. And when I picked up the Noro Ito, that was around $50, which I expected to spend. And then, of course, the Chiago minis were a lot more than that. But they are something that I've always wanted to pick up as I do more knitting and as I do more arm warmers, because I do prefer to use bulky weight yarns because I want to finish my projects quickly. So bulky weight really works out fast. And I decided that I really needed to get shorter circulars so that I could do my arm warmers without switching to 5 needles. And if I get the interchangeables, I won't have to buy a ton of new sets of needles because I'll have the set. And the Chiago minis are gorgeous. They're comfortable. I've ordered a few more cords for them so that I can have them a little bit longer for some small cowls and things like that. And they are sizes that I was missing in my actual collection. So it was something that I had planned to buy ahead of time when I knew that I was going to be going. And I'm glad that I did get to pick those up. So if you're ever in the Freeport area, I highly recommend the Mother of Pearl Yarn Shop. They're incredibly kind, they're courteous, they're clean, they are a delight to walk in and look around at all of the yarns. And they were, I believe, the originator of the Maine Yarn Cruise program event. And this year it's being hosted by, I believe it's Knitwise in Portland. And Mother of Pearl has stepped back a little bit from that. But they're usually the store that I go to pick up my bag. And this year I went to Wild Pines, which I've talked about previously. So I didn't have the chance to actually do my mid-coast trip for all of the yarn stores, which I still miss and I'm hoping that I can get to by this summer. But my summer's a little bit up in the air with the potential diagnoses that my cat can get after this vet visit. So I did want to post this update for the channel, both as a please visit this yarn shop. They're very cool. They're participating in the Maine yarn cruise, and also as a bit of a notification that once again things are getting a little bit unsettled with life events that we unfortunately can't avoid sometimes. So if you've stuck with me for this long in the video, I do appreciate it and I thank you. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.